it literally started with a telephone call at 8:30 in the morning, saying essentially, get up, find all your guys, and get them down to Cyprus. To show you how quickly that happened, I myself left about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was the last one that was available on our way to Cyprus to start a slip pattern down to essentially Kuwait. And from there, once the sort of initial chaos calmed down a little, we were reformed into constituted crews. So we stayed with the same crew throughout the whole war. We just flew and flew and flew. Initially, we were limited to 120 hours a month, which is, when you bear in mind that I think my longest flying year was only 600 hours. So 120 a month is more than twice what you would normally do. That got extended to 160. And we had a system, we had a very good captain, very good crew actually, and the loadmaster could do his own thing. Well, if he had passengers, obviously he had to look after them. If he had freight, he could go and get his head down and sleep if he wanted to. The rest of us literally pulled a straw, and from then on, literally as soon as the thing was airborne, safely in the climb, the first person was out of his seat and trying to get some sleep on the bunk. And the navigator would tell us the sector length, and that was divided by 4, and that's exactly how long you got on the bunk. And we really had, we were just flying continuously. One day we did Dhahran to Akrotiri, which is about 9 hours. We had been on the ground at Dhahran. Sorry, we had gone Akrotiri, Dhahran, 9 hours. 4 hours on the ground at Dhahran, back to Akrotiri, and then back to Lynham. So, you know, it's almost like 24 hours of continuous flying. And that wasn't uncommon. I remember doing Akrotiri to Kinloss, and we picked up a refueling tanker, the normal lorry type fuel tanker, which absolutely completely filled the freight bay. I don't remember that we could even get past it down the side. It was as big as a freight bay. That took about 4 hours to load, and then we simply got airborne and took it all the way back to Akrotiri. You know, much longer days than we were used to. But we carried quite literally everything, and always heavy weaponry for the tornadoes. Like I say, the likes of this tanker, ammunition, a lot of ammunition. There was weird loads as well. We had one aircraft more or less dedicated, and it flew Napier Deltic engines from near Kuwait back to the UK to repair them, and they were the engines that were used in the minesweepers. And the minesweepers were designed for NATO, for North Atlantic, where sea temperature of 2 to 10 centigrade. And of course, the first time they get used in action, they found themselves in the Gulf with a sea temperature of 35 to 40 centigrade, and they were melting these things regularly. And this aircraft was simply almost constantly shuttling backwards and forwards with these engines back to wherever they were getting repaired. The same applied to tank engines. The engines in the tanks were lasting very few miles, very few hours. And of course they were constantly being shipped back to the UK to be rebuilt or repaired and back out again. I remember being in Dhahran, and we had to wear full MBC clothing, which is what this thing here is for. That's what the your electric battery powered fan pack is. You're connected to the aircraft oxygen system when you're on the aircraft, but if you leave the aircraft you connect yourself to this, and it filters the air into your it's like a mask with a rubber. It's a one piece. It's like a condom with a mask on the front of it, if you think of it that way. It took us around about an hour to get dressed. So consequently, again, we pulled straws going from Akrotiri down to Dhahran. About 4 hours out, the first person would go and get dressed, and if you were the unlucky one, of course, you would now got 4 hours in this kit plus the time on the ground. We were there and it was 50 centigrade, which is actually 5 degrees more than the aircraft's rated to. And we left Dhahran at £175,000, which is the absolute maximum weight for the aircraft. At plus 50 centigrade, your engine power, we were getting, I suppose, 14 or 15,000 inch-pounds of torque as against 19,600. So it was almost like going by road. We got airborne, and the highest we could get the thing to go was 8,000 feet. And at 8,000 feet, it was still plus 35 outside. So you're ripping all this clothing off as fast as you possibly can, because you were literally liquid by then with sweat. Of course, you couldn't just rip it off and throw it in a bag and get rid of it. You had to pack it away carefully because you're going to need it the next trip. I think we were halfway to Akrotiri before we got over 20,000 feet. It was that hot and heavy. So, in a nutshell, that's kind of it.